Hi traders, this is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Morning Edge webinar. We have wholesale inventories, wholesale sales. Sorry, Canadian wholesale sales that are coming out. Let's take a look at it. I don't have any Canadian exposure at the moment, but we might get a little bit of activity. 0.3% is what the market is expecting. Let's see if we get any jump in prices here. Kind of secondary, very minor data, but you never know. S&P futures are coming down a little bit. Bonds are still coming down. Wholesale sales at 1.1%. It's pretty strong data. And we're getting the opposite reaction because it's the loony. Just because that happens. Yeah. You'd think it'd get a little bit of stronger move here, like a little push down in the dollar Canadian, but nah, not much. Not much. Okay. Let me take a look. I want to take a look at this. I'll take a look at the Nikkei really fast. Bear with me. No, what the hell? No. Apparently I can't type in the dark. It's okay. Let's do it this way. Massive resistance for the Nikkei up here. Massive resistance for the Nikkei. Remember, we have a big confluence of resistance here. So, remember, we have this 161% extension of this move, 88% retracement of that move, 786 retracement of this move, and we are right there. I mean, so if you know the Nikkei is right up against resistance, then this yen should strengthen from here. Look at the hourly here, the Nikkei. I'm gonna I actually need to tweet this chart. Bear with me. Let me what's today's date? 20th. God, can you believe it? Nikkei running into major confluence of Fibonacci resistance. if we turn here, the yen may firm against the majors. Hold on, pictures, so down to one. There you go. Okay. That's why I think you should be looking here, because if the Nikkei does stop here, then the yen should start firming. Okay? I think the Nikkei is going to have a really tough time around here. So let's keep a good eye on this Nikkei. Like I said, I'm long yen right now. You know, I'm short euro yen at 60, 122.60. I'm short dollar yen at 117.97. I don't mind it, knowing that the Nikkei is right here. All right. Okay, where are we at? Answering questions. Okay. Joe said, I'm sorry, I jumped off the boat. Matt said, regarding gold, daily divergence on MACD, I think you start buying dips. You know, I want to show you, okay, going back, because I did this analysis yesterday, so going back over to Forex Analytics, and I want to show you this just because you mentioned it. This is basic technical analysis in gold, right? I did this analysis yesterday afternoon. So if you look at gold, see this blue trend line coming through here? See that? Okay, that intersects with the 786 retracement, and your relative strength was very oversold here, and this is a daily, and we're already starting to spike up a little bit. I think any move down towards 1120, you want to be on the long side. So I agree with you that we should start bouncing here. I don't know if it's going to be overall. Here, let's go XAU USD. You know, I don't know if this is the spot. It might be a little bit lower down at this 1120, but I do think that you got to start looking for a bounce here, Matt. Totally agree with you. Dan asks, any thoughts on the euro yen? Yeah, I got short overnight. I personally shorted the euro yen. I was talking to one of the best traders that I know last night, and I was saying, hey, when we come up and tag this trend line, and this is last night, I said I want to be short. So I said I'm going to put out an order to sell at 122.60, and I sold it at 122.60. We rallied past it right to this trend line because I wasn't sure when it was going to intersect. But I think while we're below this hourly trend line, so as long as we stay below 122.80, I think it's a short. All right, Dan? Cheers to you, buddy. Carrie says, hey, Blake, have you given any consideration whatsoever to what Thiago will do now that he won't be able to follow your webinars anymore? I haven't given 1 ounce of thought until you mentioned it, but thanks, Carrie. Thiago. In our chat room, everybody knows him as Thiago. And they just said, man, Thiago is out of business. Really? Yeah, I would imagine so. Andres says, I'll hit you up later. I'm the solid snake. Cool. Jason said, good morning, Blake. Sorry to hear that you're leaving, but I wish you the best of luck for you and your family. Can you take a look at the Canadian yen? Absolutely, Jason. Canadian yen. Golly. You know, I'm not short the Canadian yen, but I don't know what all that's about. But look at this. Let me give you the buts, man. And see this little false breakout that we just had. See that one right there? I likey. You know what I mean? Like it just hit the 618, like right on it. That looks like a good short. I'm not short, but it looks like a good short. It really does. I don't want any more yen. I don't want to get too aggressive here. You know, just I mean, we've got you know, just a couple trading days left, so I don't want to be super aggressive in the market. But I don't see why you don't just short the Canadian yen here and put stops above like 88.20, right? Lucas says 20,000 Dow Jones in play today. Should put another nail in the yen's grave. Yeah, you know, let's see. So futures are up 52 points. You know, I gotta imagine there's a lot of selling coming in ahead of 20,000 because it's such a round number. People got hats. I don't know if we're gonna make it. Not on the first attempt. We might break it like this. You know, maybe early January. I don't know if we're gonna break it today. Alan F. says, good morning, Blake. I just want to jump in here and say hi. I've been gone for the past 4 months to work on my house at the lake, and I'm just getting back in the saddle. Congratulations on your new opportunity and best wishes. You've taught me a lot about patience and composure and cross rates, as well as forgiveness for your singing. In this den of thieves, it has truly been a blessing to have you fighting by our side. You will be missed. Thanks so much, and I hope to see you in Michigan again sometime. Thanks, Alan. And I remember you were working on that lake house, so congratulations. I'll miss you. You guys know where to find me, you know. I'll be on Twitter. I'll be very active there. Like I said, I'll still be posting my analysis at other places, but I just, the webinars, you know, for the time being and, you know, for the foreseeable future, I just, I need to, you know, kind of I needed to get back in control of my life. I haven't been at the gym in a few months. You know, I think that, you know, trading full time and, you know, being able to not spend so much time on the webinars, I can actually get to the gym and take care of my health and that type of thing. So, but I like I said, I appreciate each and every one of you, all of you. So. Lucas says it feels a little strange to see the Dow 20,000 oil flying and commodity currencies being taken behind the shed. Power of the dollar, I guess. Yep. Yazan says, good morning, Blake. It's Yaz. I know it's been a couple of years since the last time you heard from me, but I'm very sad to see you leaving the Wise trade. Well, I know, Yaz. It's sad for me, too. Dimitri said, hey, Blake, dollar Swiss ascending wedge coming from October highs and November lows. October highs, November lows, October highs, November lows. Let's say October highs. October highs, November lows. October highs, November lows. Shish kebab. Let's see here. Something like that. Yeah, maybe, but trying to take a look at a little bit bigger view, Dimitri. Think about what we're doing here longer term, and I think the breakout, if we do break out longer term, is going to have much more bigger consequences than this a wedge. But if you're in that camp, then below 102 is where you get bearish. I would be very hesitant to be bearish while you're above that. Just, you know, maybe if you're scalping it or whatever, but before getting too aggressive, I think you have to get back below 102 to play that. Okay. Yes, as I've been listening to you over 9 years, and still today, I was doing trading part-time, planning to go full-time in 2017, and I'm still going to do it. You should, Yaz. Absolutely, you should. Absolutely. I mean, it's based on your comfort level. If you feel comfortable, do it. Make the leap. You've got the tools. You've got it. Each and every one of you've got the tools to do this. You have to just believe in yourself and be disciplined. And it's all about discipline, risk management, and discipline and risk management, and discipline and more risk management. Andres asks, are you leaving also Forex Analytics? No, I'll still be posting there. Daniel writes in, hey Blake, I wanted to know your opinion about my strategy. I'm looking for a confluence and retracement at the 618, 50 SMA, Bollinger Band, along with hidden divergence in the RSI. Daniel, I don't think that, first of all, what you're saying, and it's not something I'm going to put on paper, what you're saying here is not anything that sounds bad. What I would actually do, though, is especially if you're trading intraday, so if you're trading intraday, make it a 55 EMA. Versus SMAs are just kind of slower reacting, moving out. Try that. See how it works for you. Yaz also writes in, I learned from you and a lot, and happy for you for your next move. Wishing you and your family the best. You will be missed. Thank you, Yaz. Oh, Daniel goes on as mentioned, I use the 1 minute, 5 minute, and 30-minute chart. Yeah, why don't you use that 55 period EMA? That's what I would say. I would turn those SMAs into EMAs just for more active settings since you're intraday trading. Matt said there was a downward revision maybe on the Canadian numbers. Okay. Rick said Dow futures basically hit all-time highs and reversed also so far with a point or so. Did they? Let's see here. Did they? Maybe after the I have to put on the front month contract. Ahmad asked Blake, when's the best time to get into trading after Christmas and New Year holiday? When does liquidity return in your experience? Usually after the first week. So like imagine I'll be back on the 2nd. I'll be trading as of the 2nd, but I know that it's usually a week following that the markets start to get active, because you have to imagine, like, I'm a hedge fund, right? Here, let's look at a calendar here. So I'm a hedge fund. Everybody's back here on the 2nd. They're in the office, January 2nd, right? Then they usually spend all week really in meetings, like strategy meetings, like how they're going to attack the first quarter. And then liquidity starts to pour back into the week. So really by the 9th, you'll start to see liquidity, about full liquidity. Okay? So, you guys and myself too, probably will, just remember it's going to be fairly illiquid the first couple of days of January. Okay? I'm not sure who asked to answer this. 161 retracement on the euro-dollar move from June 2010, May 2011 ends up just below parity. Are we doing that last leg down? Like this right here, this move right here, I think it's possible. Especially going into the end of the year, you have to imagine how much dollar demand there's going to be. That was funny. Because what we learned this summer from Pipzar, size does matter. That's right. Size always matters. But it also can be the motion of the ocean, people. At least that's what I always told myself. Wait, are we talking about trading right now? I wasn't sure what we were talking about. Sulak said, Blake, in the past hours, dollar yen and Nikkei were moving together in the same direction. Yes, and I think they both stalled at the same time, right? Alex says, is that Sanford and Son song? It was. But that's not my favorite song. Because you know my favorite song is la 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 la. Just uh-huh. Uh-huh. Um, Ricardo says, Blake, with your inverse correlation analysis about the Nikkei and the yen for Euro and DAX, do you consider the same correlation and inverse correlation? Thanks. You know, in certain circumstances, I do. Like right now, the DAX is powering higher. Uh, it's powering higher because um, of the move lower in the euro. It's allowing for the DAX to move higher. So you'll see that inverse relationship as well, to a certain extent. Sorry, I didn't mean to yawn on you guys, but yes, Matt, you're welcome. Um, so I'm just kind of looking around. Joe, I probably will, actually, to answer your question. Harold says, remember last week when you showed us your finger? I told my son there was a reason. There was. Cut my finger. There was a reason. Michael says, hey Blake, if you're going to trade for a big fund, can you please send out an alert before you buy or sell? Much appreciated. It's a private fund. I got no. Norm says, good for you, Blake. Get the body right and the mind will be much better because of it. That's right. Rich says, Blake, when are you leaving? This Friday on the Lunch Money webinar will be my last webinar. But just remember, you guys, you're going to have the Morning Edge with Paul. And you guys know this, and I know most of you know this. Paul Franco is probably one of the more talented intraday trading bandits I've ever met. Guy knows his stuff. He knows what's moving the markets. He knows why. So you guys are going to be in really good shape. You guys that are, trading currencies, and obviously you'll have more time with Kip for those of you that trade equities, more gap trades. Kip's coming back full time, which is going to be great for you guys. I'm happy for you all. The webinars will not stop. Make sure you're tuning in here even after this week. Well, you have to talk to Kip about what the next week's going to look like, but make sure that you're listening in. I'm sure there's going to be some time off after the holiday, but starting January 2nd, make sure you guys are still listening in here. These guys are pros. Norm says, I remember the first week of the year, the stock market went, in general, was dying. It was. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the first couple weeks of the year, this year, the markets come under pressure. Remember, because for tax reasons, there's no reason to sell stocks ahead of Christmas. Because if any tax benefits are going to be pushed through, it's going to be this next year coming up. So, there you go. Jonas says, I believe 20,000 in Dow is highly irrelevant at this point. I can see Dow 23,000 in 2017. People are looking for dips like 2015, 2016 showed us, but I don't think we're going to get it. We can also have an explosive year in 2017. 2017 could be the year of the blow-off top, actually, in the markets. That means that we could have an accelerated run higher. I do believe that is possible. necessary. I'm not going to sit here and look for it, but I wouldn't be surprised. Chad said, or that was a bad porn theme song. Um, Max says, I'd like to know where your stops are. I'd love to know where your stops are. How about going wild on the last day and come to the office wearing underwear only? Wouldn't you like to know? Wouldn't you like to know? Eric Barnstormer says, I still can't get over you leaving. Feels like we're seniors in high school, and all I have to say is, will you sign my yearbook? Amanda says, no more flip-flops and shorts. Have you thought this through? Oh, no, Amanda. I will be trading in flip-flops and shorts all day long. I'm not moving. Look, I'm here. I'm sitting right here. 2 weeks from now, I'll be sitting in the same chair, sipping my same coffee. I'll be trading from here in flip-flops. I might actually be naked. That's too cold, but you know. And then you guys would be like, hey, is that an innie? Hey, wait, are we still talking about trading? Oh, God. Rye says, oh, wow, I take a few months off, come back, and Blake is leaving. Well, thank you for the years of help and guidance. I've been with you since Forex Made Easy days. I've learned so much from you. Thank you for everything. Thank you, Rye. I appreciate that, and it's been my pleasure to be a part of your life. So... What's this Nikkei here? Since I posted that chart, we're starting to eke lower, and so is the yen. Patricia asked, in your opinion, will we see a pullback anytime soon? I think if we're going to see a pullback, like I'm assuming you're talking about equities, if we're going to see a pullback, it'll be at the beginning of the year for tax reasons. People selling the strength. They're just not going to do it ahead of Christmas. KH says, where else are we going to see finger surgery on air? I don't know, man. I don't know where else are you going to get that. Max says, and saying Whitney's, I will always love you. Oh, thanks, Max. I appreciate that. And stocks are just holding up really well. Joe asked, will you be trading Forex in that fund or stocks? Just currencies predominantly, and some futures, but mostly just currencies, and some precious metals too. But currencies will be my mainstay, as they've always been. Glenn says, Blake, do you have any plans to say good day in Australia in the future? I don't, but don't quote me on that, because if there's one place that my wife has never gone and always wanted to go, is Australia and New Zealand, even though I've been there. I love with all caps. I love Australia, always have. I remember the day that I wanted to go to Australia. I was in Africa, and I was in Somalia, and the guys that took our positions from us after we dug in were Australian Rangers, and they're like, you know, we were exchanging like food and, you know, stuff and swapping stories, and these guys are like, yeah, you know, you guys got to go to Perth and, you know, go to Sydney, and telling us all about the city. And I'm just like, man, I've always wanted to go to Australia, and then I did, and I loved it, and I know my wife really wants to go. So no plans yet, but yeah, I will for sure be taking my wife and kids there at some point. Alex, no, it's a private fund. It's private. Um, so no investors. Nope. Uh, just taking a real quick look around, guys. Things are, you know what? I'm long this Aussie New Zealand. I'm gonna wait for the the data, the um, milk data out of New Zealand, but I don't like this rejection at 105. Frankly, I do not like it. All right. So just a little heads up. I'm paying attention to it. I don't like the fact that we're coming off like this. It's still long.
Lucky.
Balake. What's
You
happening,
know what I'm
man?
going to miss the most?
What's that?
I'm going to miss the Smurfs and the Greek gods.
Ah, la 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 la. I did the Greek gods earlier this morning.
Ah.
I'll do it again. Because I was like I was shorting the dollar yen and have been short the dollar yen here at like 118, 117.97, and I'm like, man, this is the Greek gods calling.